Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, this is going to be absolutely massive if true, and I really hope it's true. Apparently there's a Nintendo Switch flash cart that has been developed and does actually work. Now for those who may not be aware, at a real high level here, flash carts themselves do not have games on them. They are not technically games. But most, if not all of them, have microSD card slots. And with those microSD card slots, you can put a microSD card in them that contains ROMs, and the system should play them. Now, to be honest with you, I am super skeptical about this one, but also super excited. If true, it's going to be a big game changer for the Switch. This tweet comes from AfterTimeX. I'll drop a link to it in the description below. They say, anyway, we were told the product is ready. They are apparently shipping the first units in January 2024. Unfortunately, I don't know what company is behind this brand new flash card. I don't know the specs of it. I don't know what games it's going to support, and I don't know the price. For example, this is the R4 card for the Nintendo DS, and it's currently priced on Amazon for about $26. And cartridges for even older systems can be even more expensive. Now, considering the Switch is very popular right now, I'm assuming the Switch flash card is going to be expensive. Now, I've looked into things, and this tweet is the only source of information I have, which seriously raises my doubts. In terms of legality, as far as I know here, these flash carts are 100% legal, provided you're not in the EU. I think they have been deemed illegal in the EU. I could be wrong though. As soon as I know more about these flash carts, you'll know more. And speaking about the Nintendo Switch, next up here we're talking about Nintendo Switch emulation on Android with Yuzu. And this is more of just a PSA here. If you are using Yuzu and picking it up from the Google Play Store, the last update here was on December 13th. And I would argue it's pretty outdated. I mean, instead, if you head to Yuzu's Android GitHub account, which I will link to in the description below, you can pick up a much more recent version. At the time of filming here, they're on Android version 170, which was released about 3 hours ago at the time of filming here. They release a brand new version or two almost every single day. And there's an update here that made a major improvement to a whole bunch of different games. We are certainly going to hear about this one in Yuzu's next progress report, but this update from Byte apparently fixes rendering issues in over 64 games. Now this list is ever expanding, so I'll drop a link to it in the description below, and I do recommend checking it out. We've got games in here like Grand Theft Auto 3 Vice City Definitive Edition now going in-game. We've got Batman Arkham Knight finally working. Bayonetta 3 now works. Ghost Runner now works. Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory now works, and a whole bunch more. Interestingly enough, and kind of fascinating here, all of these improvements were the result of fixing something for Paper Mario the Origami King. Go figure. Moving on, and we're talking about Atari Jaguar emulation with BigPEmu, and BigPEmu just got another release. So at the time of filming, version 1.093 is the latest update. We've got a whole bunch of bug fixes and also some brand new features, including Rich adding a checkered flag script, which features native resolution rendering, analog controller support, frame rate unlocking, and lots of tweaks and options. Now, BigPEmu is only available for Windows, but it's come a very long way in a very short period of time, and it continues to impress. I do recommend checking it out. Next up here, I'm not gonna lie, this one is kind of surprising. We're talking about MAME on Android. MAME stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, or Multiple Arcade Machine Emulator, depending on how you want to interpret that. And MAME for Droid 2024 has just released. And this is based on MAME 0.261, which is the latest version of MAME. It's worth pointing out that right on the Google Play Store page in the description, it says this version of MAME for Droid was designed to be used with high-end Android devices, because it is based on the latest PC MAME version, which requires higher specifications than the older versions. Even with a high-end device, do not expect modern arcade games from the 90s and beyond to necessarily work at full speed or compatibility. And on top of that, and this is really important, this MAME for Droid version only uses the 0.261 ROM set and not ROM set from older versions. Unfortunately here, I don't know what this means in terms of minimum specs that are going to run this app. They do say it requires at least Android 10, but that's not telling me a whole lot. My guess here is just to try it and see if it works for you. If it does, great. If it doesn't, it kind of sucks. MAME for Droid 2024 is 100% free, and as far as I know, it's also open source. Next up here, we're talking about Nintendo 3DS emulation with Citra, and Citra just got a brand new update. So as of Citra Canary 2724, there were some configuration changes. They improved the defaults for macOS and handling of missing audio backend. It now uses Vulkan as the graphics API default when OpenGL is unavailable. And there was also a refactor to the GPU interface, and they say due to that, Mini Mario and Friends, Mario vs. Donkey Kong Tipping Stars, and Mario Golf World Tour no longer soft lock and have missing graphics. Now these changes are for Citra Canary, which is the more experimental version of Citra, and some stuff may not work as anticipated. To check this one out, head to citra-emu.org and click on download here. And then click on manual download and pick it up for your operating system of choice under Canary build. And speaking about 3DS emulation, next up here we're talking about Nintendo 3DS emulation on Android with performance-based fork of Citra, Citra MMJ. And Citra MMJ just got a brand new update. I'll drop a link to it in the description below. According to the changelog and also Google Translate, this update fixes some issues and also adds in per game settings, which you will have to enable in the settings menu. Per game settings will not be enabled by default. Citra MMJ is not supported by the Citra development team. It's not an official version of Citra. It's a fork of Citra. I do recommend using the official version of Citra first, and if you're having issues, you can always check out Citra MMJ. Next up, we're into the rapid fire section, so hold on tight and here we go. First on the docket is Wine, and Wine 9.0 RC3 has just dropped. The developers are currently in a code freeze, but they are allowing bug fixes, and we've got a whole bunch of bug fixes here, including RPG Maker that was crashing, Star Wars Fallen Order that was crashing at launch, Silent Hill 4 and StarCraft Remastered, which had low resolution issues. Second on the docket here, microSD cards are about to get a whole lot bigger. Kioxia has announced mass production of a 2 terabyte microSD card, which is absolutely crazy. Keep your eyes peeled on this one, and hopefully it drives down the prices for other microSD cards. Third up, the controversial game failure the day before is shutting down game servers as of January 22nd of next year. And they say they are working in collaboration with Steam to facilitate refunds for all game purchasers. For any players that have not already had their purchase refunded, Steam will now proactively refund all remaining players, so that is some good news. Fourth up, according to Reuters, NetEase and Tencent suffered a massive blow to the tune of $80 billion, thanks to China announcing rules to reduce spending on video games. I'll drop a link to the article in the description below, and I do recommend checking it out. Apparently, China has banned games from giving out rewards for logging in daily, rewards for purchasing for the first time, and rewards for purchasing consecutively. And I'm curious to see if these laws are going to make their way overseas. I think this is actually good for gamers. Fifth on the list here, and we're talking about Dark Souls 2. And if you play this game online on PS4 or Xbox 360, I've got some bad news for you. Servers are shutting down on March 31st of next year. Offline play is still possible though, and if you play this game on PC, PS4, or Xbox One, servers are still unaffected. I don't know for how long though. Sixth on the list, if you're a fan of shmups, if you're a fan of one credit clears, well, I've got a ROM hack you may be interested in. It's for 1943 for the NES, and it's called 1943 Remix. They take the 24 stages down to 6, and they've got a very steep difficulty curve. In addition to that, this ROM hack also includes the hack that removes the warning music when you're below 20 energy. If you are interested, I'll drop a link in the description below. Seventh on the list, if you've got an iPhone 15 Pro, if you've got an iPad, if you've got a Mac with an M chip in it, Resident Evil 4 has just released. It released on December 20th, and it's available for all of those devices. Unfortunately, I've got no word on the RE4 Remake being launched on Android. Fingers crossed it makes it to the platform. Eighth on the list, we're talking about a massive Fallout 4 mod. It's called Project London, and it's releasing on April 23rd of next year. There's a trailer on YouTube that's over 13 minutes in length and worth checking out. It's a massive overhaul of the game. It changes a heck of a lot. This overall is really impressive, and I can't wait to see what happens when it releases. Just to give you an idea of size here, there's going to be 53 new main quests, 35 side quests, 25 faction quests, 64 miscellaneous quests, 16 gang quests, and 5 companion quests. On top of that, over 90,000 lines of dialogue have been recorded. And this is all fan content, non-official DLC. 11th on the list, PC Focus has tweeted out that apparently reWASD has been cracked. It's a mapping software used to reassign the controller. They say it creates a virtual controller and turns aim assist on. I don't know a whole lot about reWASD, but I may have to look into it. 12th on the list, and I was debating putting this one in, but I guess it's gaming news. Apparently Boogie 2988 has been banned on Twitch. I don't know if it's permanent, I don't know if it's temporary. But I mean, the guy took his pants off on live stream. What did he expect? And speaking about streaming, 13th on the list here, we're talking about NewPipe. And NewPipe got a surprise update. At the time of filming, version 0.26.0 is the latest update. And this one is arguably new and improved. There's a whole bunch of changes in here, a whole bunch of fixes. And it includes a brand new high resolution option in the default resolution settings. 14th on the list, and we're talking about DOSBox Pure, which is a fork of DOSBox for RetroArch, and DOSBox Pure just released version 0.99. This update is mainly for bug fixes, but there is something worth pointing out. They say they have fixed the save state location when using the sort save states into folders option in RetroArch. This required disabling the new NetPlay support in RetroArch version 1.16. Currently, NetPlay is now only available with nightly builds of RetroArch. So if you are using DOSBox on RetroArch and you don't have NetPlay with this new core, well, now you know why. 15th on the docket, and we're talking again about the Insomniac leaks, and things are getting worse and worse for Insomniac and Sony. Apparently, people have got their hands on Spiderman 2 stuff, and they're working on porting it to the PC, according to Reddit. And speaking about PC, 16th on the docket, and also last up here, we're talking about Dino Crisis. And someone has remade this game in Unreal Engine. This is fan-made, it's kind of like a demo right now, and it's not necessarily fully fleshed out just yet. However, I will drop a link to this in the description below in the event that you wanted to check out this video. It's about 18 minutes in length, almost 19. And there's a very interesting link here you also might be interested in. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. Or maybe one fluff, she made a short appearance. Let me know your thoughts about anything we talked about today in the comments below, and we did talk about quite a bit. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.